Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be using a pre-filled template that you can find in the OLAT directory. So I will open this file now. It's called basic usage of plots 2_stud live. Let's open this. There we go. Now let's save it with a different name, hence you will not lose the original file. Here we are, so I renamed it with a specific name for this session. The first thing I want to show you in this video is an additional type of cell. It's a Markdown code cell. That's this part here. So Markdown is a markup language which can be used to format text. It is used a lot in notebooks. So it's very useful to know how to use this tool in a notebook because it will help you to further document all your exercise. This activity is totally independent of Julia, so it's not related. If you want to edit the text here, you simply double click here. Then the Markdown will appear. It looks like normal text with some extra command. So the hash here is setting emphasis on this line. This command here is basically setting a hyperlink to the Markdown text. And these double stars are used to emphasize some word. Anyway, if you want to add some stuff, for example, you want to edit, so you want to add some text, so I just write my edits. If you want to activate the cell, you just press the tick mark and then it will be taken into account. So you can do whatever you want, more or less. It will be useful to enrich your notebooks. The hyperlink, you can click on it. It will send you to a GitHub page. And this GitHub page is called the Markdown cheat sheet, and it's very useful. You will find a lot of information on how to write a nice Markdown caption for your notebooks. So now let's go back to a topic which is more related to the lecture. Let's examine the basic types that were discussed during the lecture. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to define a variable a, and I will set it to a character. So to define a character in Julia, you use the single quotes. So the variable a will be equal to the character a. Now let's activate this cell. You see that a is an ASCII Unicode character. We can check the type of this variable by typing println and then calling a function which we are going to use also in the next lecture. It's called type of. So I'm going to ask what is the type of a, and we are going to print it. Let's run the cell. You see that a is a character, char. Another thing we can do, we can print the size of this variable. So let's print the size of a and press play. You see that the size of a single character, a, is equal to 4. So, is it 4 bits or 4 bytes? Let's hover the mouse on the function sizeOf. When you hover the mouse on sizeOf, you can read the documentation of this function. You see that the size is returned in bytes. So the size of a is simply 4 bytes. 4 bytes is 32 bits. So you can take some notes. Let's use a comment again. A character is 4 bytes, which is equal to 32 bits. That's the default setting. Now let's define a second variable, and we are going to define an integer. So we type b is equal to 1, and let's repeat this line here, and we check the type of b this time. Let's press play, and we see that the type of b is int 64. So that's an integer 64. Let's check out the size of b. Let's press play, and the size of b is 8 bytes, and 8 bytes is exactly 64 bits. So the default settings for integer in Julia is 8 bytes or 64 bits. Just take some notes. It's very useful to document your script. Let's define a third variable now, c, and we set c is equal to 1, but this time 1.0. Let's check out the type of c, and you will realize that this time c is a float 64. Since we set comma 0 here, we have now implicitly defined a floating point variable. So let's check out the size now. The size of c, and we see that the size of c is also 8 bytes. So the default settings for floating points is 8 bytes or 64 bits. So that's it for the types. Thanks.